As an Ork player, it hurts me to my very core that I haven't been able to talk about Ork lore with you guys since Orktober. And I know it's only been a couple of videos, but my mind craves the savagery and the aggression of the Orks. So instead of creating a simple Tyranid versus Ork lore video, I thought it would be awesome to talk about the bizarre Orkoid species that exists within the Tyranid lore. Which is why in this Nidvember video, we're going to be going over the Genestealer Ork hybrid. Welcome to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gersh1, and if you're new to the channel and you want to learn more about the background of the Tyranids, subscribe because we're going to be covering the Great Devourer for the entire month of November. We are giving the Tyranids the love that Games Workshop fails to give most of its Xeno factions. If you guys have any questions or suggestions for future videos, please comment down in the comment section below. I'll answer them there. And if you like this new style of 40 Facts video where I focus in on a faction for the entire month, then penetrate the like button with your gene seed so that YouTube can recommend more Tyranid lore from us. This helps out the channel and it helps us know what type of videos you guys want to see more of. But with all that said, let's get into 40 facts and lore on the Genestealer Ork hybrid. This first portion of the video is probably not going to have any new information for those who already know the basics of the Genestealer lore, but for all of the newcomers to the hobby or to the faction, the reason that an Ork/Tyranid hybrid can exist is because of the Tyranid's initial invasion process. You see, the hive mind creates a bioform known as a Genestealer that gets launched out into the galaxy long before the Tyranid hive fleet arrives in a system. Its job is to prep the world for the Tyranid invasion. This small brood of Genestealers arrives on the planet and its first instinct is to reproduce, not with other members of the brood, but rather inseminating whatever sentient life form exists on that planet in order for them to create more Genestealers. So the original Genestealers are referred to as pure-type Genestealers, and then those that come after are recognized as hybrids. These hybrids can be broken down into way more categories, but that's a topic for a completely different video. What we want to focus on is the big picture as to why this is happening. You see, Genestealers sent out a signal to the hive mind that calls it to them, but there are multiple broods scattered all across the galaxy for each individual hive fleet. So in order to stand out from the rest of them, the brood needs as many Genestealers as possible so that the signal can be as strong as possible. If this brood can create a large enough population, then the hive mind will be more attracted to their signal because it's a sign that there's a good amount of biomass that is sustaining this large population, in other words, more food for it to consume on this specific planet. Knowing this, it's easy to understand why the native life of a planet is very important to the pure-type Genestealers. They need a base population that is easy to infiltrate with their genes and whose hybrids will prosper amongst the locals. And so far, humanity has been the best host, and the Orks, on the other hand, have been the worst species to infect. Because the greenskins are everywhere in the galaxy, many broods have had the displeasure of realizing that any prospect of furthering the Genestealer species hits a dead end after a couple of Ork hybrids. You see, the Ork culture is not structured to care for their own kind. They live in a society where any form of mutation or disability will be mercilessly taken advantage of. These first-generation Ork hybrids appear more like Genestealers than they do Orks, so once a proper Ork lays eyes upon a bulbous-headed Ork with 4 arms and scales, the entire mob will slaughter the poor mutated bastard. In order for a Genestealer hybrid to look more like the host population and not get pummeled to death by their tribe, multiple generations have to go by before a Genestealer Ork looks like a proper Ork, and even then you can kind of tell. And since the Ork spores don't get released until the end of their life cycle, the development of these hybrids is a very slow process. These first-generation hybrids will more than likely get run out of the tribe long before they have a chance to release their spores or infect other Orks. We also have to mention that the coding inside of the Ork DNA has a biological trigger that reduces the amount of spores produced by an infected Ork. This is something probably engineered into them by the old ones in order to prevent hereditary diseases from hurting the Orks, and it now serves to protect them from any type of genetic manipulation of their spores. Now, the only place that an Ork hybrid mob has any luck of growing and prospering is amongst feral Orks. Unlike civilized Orks, the feral or the savage Orks don't have the common sense to push away these strange-looking Ork hybrids, so sometimes, albeit rarely, a Genestealer Ork hybrid brood does make it out of the jungle and into an Ork encampment, where hopefully they can assert their dominance over the civilized Orks. But what usually ends up happening is that the Ork knobs or even a war boss notices that there's something odd with these boys, and eventually they realize that these aren't proper Orks, they've been taken over by the Bug Eyes and they are quickly slaughtered. All of this goes to show how difficult it is for the Genestealers to infiltrate the Orks. Most of the time, the Genestealer Patriarch won't even attempt to use the Orks as a host, they will simply just try to kill them. When Ork hybrids have been encountered, it's usually inside of a space hulk, where the Genestealers had no choice but to use these greenskins who got too curious about a spaceship that was drifting for centuries in space. The truly smart Genestealer Patriarchs will use the Ork hybrids as a temporary stage in making contact with a more suitable host population. Because it's not just the Ork boy that becomes a hybrid, but the entire Orkoid society or the Orkoid chain, some Genestealer Patriarchs use Genestealer Squigs and Gretchens to stow away inside of trading vessels where these diminutive greenskin hybrids can then infect the ship's crew and eventually reconnect with the brood. Warbands of Orkoid Genestealer hybrids like this are truly dangerous, but at the same time, they're a target to every single major faction in the galaxy when it's encountered. These abominations can seldom be reasoned with, and only Ork war bosses with extremely low cunning will recruit them into their ranks. They also adopt this fanatical but primitive belief in the Beast, which is really just the Hive Fleet that they belong to. The Beast figure replaces Gork and Mork, but because the Ork mind has never been pious, the form of worship is almost always a caricature of what an Ork hybrid thinks worship is. Examples of this is verbally praising the Beast after the most simple actions. It's common for them to do this after burping or passing gas, because after all, Ork hybrids are still Orks and they're disgusting beings. They will also sacrifice random items in the hopes of gaining the Beast's favor. They will throw away their favorite shooter, only to realize it probably wasn't the best idea to give up their only weapon as an offering right before you're going to war. However, their main goal is always to reproduce, so if they cannot find more creatures to infect, the desperate Ork hybrids will eventually seek out chaos, and they'll create Genestealer Ork hybrids devoted to a chaos god. This is one of the rarest and probably the worst creatures in the entire galaxy. Now when it comes to their appearance, the standard Ork Genestealer hybrid adopts a color variation that pertains to the Hive Fleet where the Genestealers belong to. So green is still the major color, but undertones of like purple, pink, or blue are all over the hybrid. They also have enlarged craniums with webbed and protruding veins, chitinous-ridged foreheads, and large claw-like hands. And the banner of most of these Ork hybrid warbands is some stylized version of this description as seen on this flag. Although rare, the strength and ferociousness of these Ork Genestealer hybrids are not to be underestimated when encountered. And that's the lore to the Ork Genestealer hybrid. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I was inspired to create my own Ork hybrid. I was about to, but I just ran out of time. I know that online I've seen some kit bash work with, like, they take an Ork knob and then they add some Genestealer bits and you get the hybrid. And since I have like over 50 Ork knobs, I don't know why, just like throughout the years of collecting, I just keep getting all these knobs that I don't really use because they're not good on the tabletop. So I might take those and convert them over if I have enough Genestealer bits. I might not have enough Genestealer bits, but we'll see in the future. I'm still trying to schedule my time in an appropriate way where I can continue to create these videos, keep creating videos for November, but also give you guys some extra stuff. And I didn't do a very good job in October, so hopefully November is a lot better. Now, if you guys have any suggestions or any questions about the Tyranids, then if you guys would like to see a certain video, just comment down in the comment section below. I'm going to be down there answering questions. So for the first like 2 days that a 40 Facts video is out, I'm going to be answering, I'm going to try to answer all the questions. So just ask away down in the comment section below and we'll talk there. I really appreciate all of the support. If you guys like this type of content, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, share with your friends, just to help out the channel and also for us to continue November and all of the different lore videos. But yeah, thanks so much for listening, guys, and we'll talk tomorrow. This is Gershwin with One Mind Syndicate signing out.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation. I knew I never had that much to lose.